This is kind of a frustrating question. They do this occasionally with the double passage where they're really making you like go on a treasure hunt to find just like very specific lines and in one in each passage. And so that's kind of what's happening here. Um, let's see what we have to do here. Caro and Larison defend their conclusions by relying on. So what kind of evidence did they use? A, several experiments that simulate conditions in nature. So I'm kind of going from memory here, but I don't remember them simulating conditions in nature. At least Larison, which the second passage is the one that's most like fresh in my mind, they just went out in nature and they just like looked at the zebras and looked at actual zebras. They're not simulating anything. It is nature. So it's a strong word and it kind of jumps out. I don't know that it feels 100% wrong, but we got to really scrutinize these words. So you got to look at those things and kind of go back and see, did they do this? Did they talk about this? And no, we can look in passage 2 and they're not looking at zebras in a lab. They're out in nature looking at them. So that's not right. B, field observations over the course of several months. I already don't like that they talk about time here. You know, like that didn't seem like a main theme of either passage of how long these people were out there. I could look back. I don't remember, honestly, what they said about passage 2. They said they looked at them. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't say months. It doesn't say what they did. And him, too. I don't think for Caro. Yeah. Doesn't say anything about time. Not that I can see. Here, this is going to help us, right? What did he do? He collected these things. Maybe that's a simulation. But, yeah, the time piece, I don't remember them talking about a specific time period. C, data collected from various museums and maps. Well, we just said that's right here. Museums and maps is talked about in passage 1. But like I said before, C, the museums and maps, that's not what is going on in passage 2. That person, Larison, she's going out into the world and looking at actual zebras. So like this kind of happens with a lot of these, where like choice A is true for passage 2, and then choice C is true for passage 1, but they're not true for both, and that's kind of what we're being asked for. D makes almost no sense to most people, but it is the answer. Observed correlations among multiple variables. Well, basically that's just like science jargon for did they look at a bunch of stuff? Yes, they did. So I think that's most obvious at the beginning of passage 2, where it says 29 different environmental variables, right, at 16 different sites. So correlation just means like, is there a pattern between the different variables? And yeah, they looked at all these different things. Presumably they pulled out some sort of pattern and came to the conclusion in passage 2 that it's the temperature that affects the stripes. Did passage 1 look at multiple variables? Well, I guess. We're talking about museum stuff and map stuff. I don't know. They're looking at different species, where it occurred in the body, where they were, extinct species, ranges of predators, right? Like, it doesn't say multivariable, but the fact that there's lots of different stuff that he's considering in his study, that is multiple variables, right? There's lots of stuff he's looking at, and he's looking for any sort of pattern or correlation. So D is kind of right because it doesn't really say anything at all. It just talks, this is like what science is, right? Is you look at stuff and you look for a pattern and then you come to a conclusion. So the SAT does this a lot, where they disguise something simple as something complex. And that's frustrating. The best way to counter that, especially if you're not really comfortable with the vocabulary, is to look at the other choices and really think about the words that you do understand and then go look for those things in the passage. This is a time-consuming question. It's a good example of do the best you can, get yourself to 60 or 70% confidence, and then move on. There's more questions to come in this section, so you don't want to spend 5 minutes rereading each passage just to find the one line where they maybe talk about the different kinds of evidence. It's not worth it. This is just 10 points. You're probably going to be right anyway from your memory, so you're better off just going with the memory and getting points elsewhere. This is just not worth rereading just for this 10 points. That's for sure.